Peace guys, how's everyone doing? Welcome back to another video. My microphone's acting kind of funky. I've tried to record this a couple times. I think I got it right now, so it's not too loud or too low. In this video is called The Afterlife. I'm doing here and there with some uploads, doing like an afterlife kind of series of videos. So I'm going to dive a little deeper into my perspective and my opinions on the afterlife based on my own experiences. They're not based on anybody else's experiences. They're based on my own experience. So I do appreciate you watching and checking out what I have to say. I really do appreciate that, and I do feel like I'm trying to communicate and help people and just kind of broaden the perspective of the afterlife. And remember, as I've said before, there's many different scenarios and different ways consciousness becomes centered into this human experience, and there are many different scenarios and ways that it leaves this human experience. It's not all the same stuff for everybody. All right, you guys have to understand that. So by talking about the afterlife and doing different videos on this particular topic, we're touching on different aspects, different scenarios, different possibilities, different things to put into your own awareness field, mental field, so that it can help you, kind of figure out stuff. Right? So this video is called The Afterlife, and in this video I want to focus on primarily the 5th astral level, okay? And kind of talk about that, my own experiences with it. I've had a lot of experiences with all the levels of the astral plane structure up to the 5th, and then there's the 6th and 7th level, which in my opinion is what we consider the mental planes. And the mental planes, even though the mental planes are still part of the astral structure, things do change there. The way consciousness is, and the way beings behave and act, and different rule sets and different things going on. The reality constructs there. There are similarities, but there's distinct differences between, let's say, the 5th astral level and the 6th and the 7th astral levels. Now I'm going to dive right into all of this, but before I do, I just want to say at the end of this video, I need to respond to someone's question. I just felt like in a video I can respond better. It's about the OBE card trick. I did a video a year ago about the OBE card trick, and let me focus on that after this video, Afterlife. And then I've got my cards here, and I'm going to explain that to that gentleman, but it will be helpful to all of you too who are practicing, who are doing an astral projection practice. It's a spiritual practice. It's very important. So in the 5th level, so how do you get there? Okay, let's start with that. Let's start with what is a way to actually get to the 5th astral level. And so let's keep it simple. In my opinion, the best way to do it is to first get out of body, obviously, have an OBE, consciously aware, and start with the real-time zone, the etheric plane. Start with that, and then you want to get away from your physical body in the bed and move outside your home. Get outside so you can see the sky, which would be the etheric vision or etheric sky. And then it doesn't really matter what direction you go, if it's this way or that way or behind, whatever. As long as you go straight into the etheric sky at a 30-degree to 45-degree angle within that, scope, just go as fast as you can and just go straight up into the sky. Trust me, you can do it. And within like 3 seconds, 3 to 5 seconds, you will start to traverse or transition from etheric to astral body, and you'll be starting to get into the astral plane structure. Something to pay attention to is something I'm guilty of too. Sometimes I'm looking forward, you know, I'm just looking at whatever the target is, right? I don't spend a lot of time just pausing or stopping while flying really fast to look behind me. So the real trick is to observe what's behind you, because then you can kind of really see where you're going. And in between, okay, so in between the first level of astral, second level, third level, 1 through 3, there is a it starts off as you go in between the planes, you have a kind of a reddish fog. It's a reddish, misty kind of fog. It's almost like being in clouds, and there's a softness to it, very cloud-like. And when you start to look behind you, I tend to see the colors better if I look behind myself as I pass through it. I don't know why, but that's what I experience. And so once you start to see that you're going through the red, a reddish kind of hazy, misty cloud fog kind of thing in between the planes, then that will transition into more of an orange, and then more into a yellowish. And so once you start to notice those color changes as you keep going at that 30 to 45 degree angle out, and you know, just into, you know, into the astrals structure, then you want to readjust your flight, or the angle. So you're going like on an angle, and then once you start seeing a yellow, once you start looking behind yourself, remember you got to get in the habit though of really looking behind you, you know. And once you see that there's like a yellowish haze or a yellowish mist, fog, I mean, then right at that time is when you want to change your direction. The angle changes, and instead of going 35, 45 degrees, adjust it like this. And so it's not quite vertical, it's not like straight up. You're not going like this and then like this. You're going like this, and then you just adjust it a little bit like that, maybe around there or so. I'm not sure how many degrees of a shift that would be, but all I'm trying to say is you're going more straight up, but not completely vertical. Okay? Are you following me? So when you do that, that's when you can get not just more into the mental planes, but more importantly, with the topic or focus of this discussion here in this video, you can get more into the fourth and fifth levels of the astral. And you know what's really cool about this, the fifth level of the astral plane structure, is that there's still dualism, there's still duality, but at least 80% of everything there, we're talking about consciousness, that's in bodies just centered on the fifth level of the astral plane structure, in the reality constructs, etc. What you'll find is that 80% plus the beings there, consciousness there, is very good, very positive. There's very little negativity there. There's not a lot of rule sets and pressure there. Like in the mental plane structure, I find that there's more pressure or more rule sets. There's not as much freedom in the mental plane structure. It's more of like a special club kind of thing, you know. But in the the lower astral structure, the first level, second level, etc., you have a complete dualism, just like you have positive and negative energies and positive and negative consciousness here in this Earth reality construct. That exists the same way in the first couple levels of the astral plane structure. But like I'm saying though, once you get to the 4th and 5th level, especially the 5th level of the astral plane structure, you have a majority of just really positive energy, positive vibes. It feels nice. The colors are really brilliant and beautiful. There's a lot of goldish color. And yellowish to goldish range of color in the atmosphere around you, in the sky, etc. And there is a lot of many thousands and thousands and thousands of different entryways that you can go into, that go into all sorts of different realities, different worlds. Some of the worlds are very small, tiny. Like some of the worlds are maybe only the size of let's just say maybe they're just a few miles across. I mean, just trying to paint the visual of what I'm trying to say. A few miles across, 10 miles across, 20 miles across, which is obviously not a lot. That's very tiny compared to the Earth reality construct. And then some of them are much larger and huge. So there's a wide range of different reality constructs in the 5th level of the astral plane structure, but all of the animal life, and then of course consciousness that's centered in those astral bodies in that density, all of it's more on the positive side of the spectrum. There's still some negativity. There's still some demonic entities that are, impersonating beings of light that still exist there and have their own worlds and realities, but the number of them is dramatically less than what you'll find in the first few levels of the astral plane structure, where there's a lot of demonic entities that are harnessing energy, from other consciousness in that density, in those reality constructs. Something I've talked about in other videos, obviously. Another way to know that you're in the 5th level of the astral plane structure is that when you are in the 3rd level of the astral plane structure, another way to know if you're in the 4th or 5th levels of the astral plane structure is because in the 2nd and 3rd levels of the astral plane structure, you will find a lot of like reincarnation centers. You will find really big malls, tunnels. Like you'll go into these different reality constructs, and you see all these beings wandering around, and you'll see enormous, I'm talking about the 3rd level, give or take. I'm just trying to give you some kind of, how would you say, guidance or just overall perspective on what I'm trying to explain. So in the 3rd level, what you run into a lot is really big walkways and tunnels that are really, really wide, really, really tall. They look like they're made for giants, literally giants. Like that's what it looks like. But when you get into the 4th, 5th level of the astral plane structure, you don't see any of those types of things. So that's one way to kind of maybe have clues or distinguish where you're at, because sometimes you can just spontaneously astral project into these different levels of the astral plane structure, and you don't have 100% complete control over where you're going. And and again, as I've said before, astral projection is a practice, right? And that's what I try to tell you guys. And so this is a daily thing. And when you focus on this stuff as part of your life, not your whole life, astral projection practice as a spiritual practice is a part of your reality here. It's a part of your life. It's a part of your development, spiritual development, growth process, all of those types of things. But you have to have a percentage of every single day devoted to it, because that's the only way to gain momentum, right? And help to center and focus your energies. Because as soon as you take a 1 month hiatus or break or whatever from AP practice, you find that it's almost like a muscle and it's not being worked out, and the muscle gets weaker, and then you have to work harder to get back to where you were previously. So very important stuff to keep in mind, essentially. Where am I at? 15 minutes. Okay. Let me stop there. I don't want to dump too much information on you guys, but let me just go back to what I originally said about the OBE card trick, so I can help answer that question that this gentleman had. And so you don't use, I mean, you can use the whole deck of cards, 52 cards for the OBE card trick, but I suggest keeping it as simple as possible. So what I actually really do, though, is I'll go in my recliner in the living room to meditate sometimes whenever I'm doing the practice of the OBE card trick, and then so when I get out of body and I go to wherever that wall is, or like the front door, I'll tape up a random playing card, you know, and I'll tape it up on the door. When I go out of body, I tend to go through my back door, through my front door. It's habitual, it's a routine. So I put it usually on my front door with a piece of tape, right? But I don't use all the cards. I just use typically diamonds, red diamonds, you know, all the face cards, you know, all the numbers, right? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, Jack, Queen, King, Ace, right? All of them. But then I usually just also use, I like to use the clubs. And here's like a 10 of clubs, right? So that way I just have, you know, a whole set of cards in clubs or in diamonds. So that way I'm only using half of the card deck. And also, I'm eliminating reality fluctuations that can happen. So when you get out of body, you can see the card. But if you have a clubs, let's say a hearts, right? Like you have a diamond, and you have a hearts, right? See how they're both red? You can see the difference between red and black in the etheric plane. So instead of having two different cards that are red, so that there's no reality fluctuations to where you're thinking, wait, was that a heart? Was that a diamond? Or, you know, like, again, the spade and the clubs, they look kind of similar. So that's why, so I just use one set of diamonds, red, and then one set of clubs, right? So I can kind of eliminate some of the reality fluctuations or things that can happen. It keeps it a little more simpler. And that way you're not second guessing yourself, because what happened before is I'd just pick a random card from my card deck and put it on my door, and it was like any card, right? And then let's say I'd see the 7 of spades, but then for some reason I would think it was a club, right? And then I'd go check it, and it was a spade, not a club. So it was kind of making myself, it was making me second guess myself. And then you want to eliminate second guessing, you know, when you're doing out-of-body experiments. So I hope that helped answer the OBE card trick. It's a great way. It's a great way to improve your astral projection skills, and to also confirm that you're going out of body with your consciousness and going into your energy body and actually seeing something while out of body and coming back. You gotta go back. You look at the card, and you have to go back to your body instantly to have accurate recall of what you saw. So it's a quick OBE. But hope that helped you. And I'll leave it at that, guys. You guys have a wonderful day. I will talk to you soon. Peace.